Have you ever reached the end of the day feeling strangely tired? Even though you didn't do anything physically demanding? You got enough sleep. You drank your coffee. Nothing terrible happened. And yet somehow your mind feels heavy. Simple decisions feel harder than they used to. You forget things more often. You struggle to focus. And even when you finally have time to rest, your brain refuses to slow down. If this sounds familiar, you're far from alone. Many people today are walking around feeling mentally drained, emotionally numb, and constantly overwhelmed without fully understanding why. They assume they're lazy, or unmotivated, or that something is wrong with them. But what if your brain isn't broken? What if it's simply exhausted from trying to survive a world it was never designed for? Because modern life is asking more from your mind than ever before, and your brain has been quietly paying the price. Your brain wasn't built for this. For most of human history, our brains evolved in environments that were much slower, simpler, and quieter. There were threats, of course, but those threats were usually immediate and temporary. Find food, avoid danger, stay connected to your tribe, then recover. Stress came and went. But today, the stress rarely ends. Instead of escaping predators, we're trying to answer emails, pay bills, keep up with social media, read the news, remember passwords, maintain relationships, worry about the future, and somehow stay productive while doing it all. And unlike physical threats, modern stress doesn't always have a clear finish line. There's always another notification, another message, another headline, another problem waiting tomorrow. Your brain never receives the signal that says, you can relax now. So it stays alert, day after day, month after month, year after year, and eventually exhaustion becomes your normal. Why you feel tired, even when you're not doing much. Many people blame themselves for feeling tired. They say, I haven't even done anything. I shouldn't be this exhausted. But mental exhaustion doesn't always come from doing too much physically. It comes from carrying too much mentally. Think about how many things your brain processes every day. Constant decisions, constant interruptions, constant uncertainty. Even small choices consume energy. What should I eat? Should I answer that text? Did I forget something? Am I falling behind? Did I say the wrong thing? What if something bad happens? Most of these thoughts happen automatically, but your brain still pays for them. And over time, this invisible workload becomes incredibly heavy. That's why some days you sit on the couch all evening and still feel completely drained. Your body rested, but your brain never stopped working. The hidden cost of always being available. Modern technology has brought incredible convenience, but it has also quietly erased many of the boundaries our minds desperately need. Years ago, work stayed at work. News arrived once a day. People couldn't reach you every second. Silence existed. Boredom existed. Recovery existed. Today, your phone follows you everywhere. Notifications interrupt your thoughts. Social media floods your attention. Messages arrive late at night. And even during moments of rest, your brain remains partially on duty. Always available. Always waiting, always expecting something. The problem isn't that you're weak. The problem is that your nervous system never truly clocks out. Imagine asking your body to run 24 hours a day. Eventually it would collapse. Your mind isn't any different. Information overload is draining your brain. Every day, we consume more information than previous generations could have imagined. News, videos, podcasts, emails, comments, advertisements, texts, updates, opinions, warnings, predictions. Your brain wasn't designed to process endless streams of information without limits. Yet many of us wake up and immediately start feeding our minds. Before we've even gotten out of bed, we scroll. We check notifications. We absorb problems from around the world before we've had breakfast. And by the afternoon, our minds feel crowded. Not because we're incapable, but because we're overloaded. The human brain thrives on periods of focus and rest, not endless stimulation. Without pauses, even enjoyable information becomes exhausting. Why rest doesn't always feel like rest. Have you ever spent hours watching videos or scrolling online and still felt tired afterward? That's because not all rest is restorative. Distraction isn't always recovery. Sometimes we're trying so hard to escape exhaustion that we accidentally overload ourselves even more. Our brains continue consuming, continue processing, continue comparing, continue reacting. Real recovery often requires something modern life rarely gives us. Stillness, silence, Space. Moments where nothing is demanding our attention. But many people have become uncomfortable with those moments. Silence feels strange. Doing nothing feels unproductive. Being alone with our thoughts feels unsettling. So we reach for stimulation again. And the cycle continues. The pressure to keep up is quietly exhausting you. Modern life constantly sends one message. Do more. Be better. Move faster. Stay productive. Improve yourself. Optimize everything. And while growth can be healthy, endless pressure creates a different problem. You begin feeling like you're never enough, no matter how much you accomplish. Someone else seems ahead. Someone else appears happier. Someone else seems more successful. Social media intensifies this feeling. You're comparing your ordinary moments to everyone else's highlights, and your brain interprets those comparisons as evidence that you're falling behind. Even if you're not, that constant pressure creates stress. Not dramatic stress. Quiet stress, the kind that accumulates slowly. Until one day you realize you're exhausted and don't even know why. Your brain was never meant to multitask constantly. Many people take pride in multitasking, but the brain doesn't truly multitask. It switches, back and forth, rapidly. Email, text message, work, phone notification, video, conversation, social media, back to work. Every switch costs mental energy, and after hundreds of switches each day, your attention becomes fragmented. You feel busy all day, yet strangely unproductive. You start something and forget what you were doing. You read the same paragraph twice. You lose focus during conversations, and you wonder why your mind feels so tired. The answer isn't that you're losing your abilities. It's that your brain is overwhelmed by constant interruptions. Attention is like a battery, and modern life drains it faster than ever. Why your mind never feels safe enough to relax. Perhaps one of the biggest challenges of modern life is uncertainty. Economic uncertainty, relationship uncertainty, health uncertainty, political uncertainty, future uncertainty. Your brain doesn't need an actual emergency to activate stress. Possibility is enough. The mere anticipation of problems can keep your nervous system alert. Which means even when everything is technically okay, your body may still act as if danger is nearby. You become restless, hyper-aware, unable to switch off, unable to enjoy peaceful moments fully. Always waiting, always preparing, always expecting something. Over time, that constant state of vigilance becomes exhausting, because you were designed to move between stress and recovery, not to remain in stress indefinitely, while you feel numb instead of overwhelmed. Many people expect burnout to feel dramatic, but sometimes exhaustion doesn't look like anxiety. Sometimes it looks like nothing. No excitement, no motivation, no joy, no energy, just numbness. You stop caring about things you used to enjoy. Simple tasks feel impossible. Conversations become draining. Everything feels flat. This emotional shutdown isn't necessarily weakness. It's often your brain trying to protect itself. When stress continues for too long, the nervous system sometimes lowers the volume on everything, including pleasure. Not because you don't care, but because your mind is trying to conserve energy. The problem is, living this way can make people believe they've lost themselves, when in reality they may simply be exhausted. You don't need to escape life to feel better. Many people imagine they need a completely different life. A different job, a different city, a different identity. But sometimes the problem isn't your entire life. It's that your brain hasn't had enough opportunities to recover. Recovery isn't laziness. It's maintenance, and your mind needs it. Not once a year, not after you collapse, but regularly. Small moments matter. Putting your phone away, walking without distractions, eating slowly, having conversations without multitasking, allowing boredom, sitting quietly, sleeping consistently, doing one thing at a time. None of these habits are glamorous, but they give your brain something it desperately craves: space. And space is where recovery begins. You weren't meant to live at full speed forever. Somewhere along the way, many of us started treating rest like something we earn, something reserved for weekends, vacations, retirement, after everything is finished. But life is never finished. There will always be another responsibility, another problem, another task. If you wait until everything is done before allowing yourself to rest, that moment may never come. Your brain isn't asking for perfection. It isn't demanding that you disappear into the woods and abandon modern life. It's simply asking for balance. Moments to breathe, moments to pause. Moments where you're not consuming, producing, or reacting. Moments where you're simply human. Because no machine can run endlessly. And neither can you. If you've been feeling tired, unfocused, overwhelmed, or emotionally numb lately, maybe the answer isn't that you're lazy. Maybe your brain is exhausted, not because you're weak. Not because you're failing, but because modern life asks an incredible amount from the human mind. More information, more pressure, more decisions, more stimulation, more uncertainty, and less recovery. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to wait until you break down, and you don't need to become a different person. Sometimes healing begins with something much simpler. Recognizing that your brain has been carrying more than it was ever designed to carry. And perhaps the most compassionate thing you can do for yourself isn't to push harder, but to stop expecting your mind to function like a machine. Because underneath all the noise, all the pressure, and all the exhaustion, your brain may not be asking for more. It may simply be asking for a chance to breathe.